What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. Have you ever wondered or maybe just thought a little bit about why champions like Miss Fortune have all of these seemingly random AP scalings on their abilities, or perhaps why AP Tryndamere and AP Master Yi existed in the first place, and why so many of the older champions in League have these really weird and unfitting AP scalings in their kits? Well, there's actually some pretty legitimate reasons for them. As well, really quick, I want to give a shout out to the new channel I'm working on, Gaming Curios Community. I'll be making community compilations and uploading a new one twice a week, so definitely check it out. Anyways, let's get started. The main thing to keep in mind is that all of these champions that have seemingly random scalings on them are quite old. In fact, pretty much all of these champions were released in Season 1 or earlier, and that's a really key factor because when these champions were released, the League of Legends meta did not exist at all and was completely unrefined. Up until the Season 1 World Championship, no one really expected a clear-cut meta to be formed. Most players in Season 1 would probably laugh at the idea of the meta we have today, despite the game now being so heavily refined. When a game is first coming out and doesn't have a cut and dry meta, these random ratios and scalings are a really good thing because they allow players to come up with their own strategies and give them a lot of options. The meta was so chaotic at the time that putting random ratios and hoping for the best in a kit was definitely a good idea, since when the game is fresh and in beta still, the developers should never be the ones defining or limiting the meta until the players come up with something. Creating strategies and testing new ideas is one of the most fun things to do in a PvP based game, especially one that is just starting out, so in order to keep their game fresh and fun, these random scalings were a pretty good choice for Riot to make at the time. However, we haven't seen any of these random ratios for quite some time in any of the newer champions. In addition, a large number of these champions have had their AP ratios removed entirely or at least nerfed significantly to the point of complete unviability. Champions like AP Tryndamere and most significantly AP Master Yi come to mind. This is happening because although it's true that it was a good idea when the game was fresh and new, they really don't fit the theme of the characters anymore. And they really are pretty weird and unnecessary once we've defined the role of a champion, and they've often been difficult to balance and led to some unfair and overpowered builds in the past. With a refined meta, it's easy to say, okay, this champion is going to be an AD carry, and then you give all of their abilities scaling based off of attack damage only and base their utility around the role of an AD carry. Champion playstyles in general didn't exist at all really until the meta started to become a lot more defined, so champions weren't designed as an AD carry or as a jungler or as a support, but rather they were just designed to be someone who dealt damage or to be someone who was tanky, things like that. At the time, these random AP ratios weren't random at all, they were just a part of the champion, and we only perceive them as random and weird due to the way the meta has evolved since Season 2. Overall, these random ratios from the start have definitely led to a lot more good than bad throughout the years. A champion like Ezreal was very much intended to be an AP caster kind of champion, but due to the seemingly random AD ratio on his Q, along with some of his utility, he eventually proved to be an extremely strong AD carry champion in the meta and has remained so ever since. It's examples like this that show us why Riot has left some of the not too crazy random ratios in the game, like Miss Fortune's AP scaling. Sure, they might patch it out when it gets to be too powerful or completely doesn't fit the ideals of a champion at all like they did with Master Yi, but overall it's all about creating an interesting gameplay experience and letting players create their own strategies.
Take some money, those of paper, keep in mind we just skipped the ship well far along the way.